Hi, and welcome to the SaVeg podcast.
I'm Rose, also known as Cheap Lazy Vegan on YouTube.
And I'm Daniel, one of your favorite guest stars on Cheap Lazy Vegan's YouTube channel.
We're two friends who love to talk about the latest trending topics.
So get comfortable and join us while we give our SaVeg take on just about everything.
You are currently listening to the previous episode of this podcast, but if you would like to listen to this week's episode and get some exclusive content, go over to patreon.com/thesavagepodcast.
Hello, everyone.
We need to plan out when we say hi.
Why?
I don't know. We seem very unprofessional.
Okay.
What do you think? Guys, do you like the unprofessionalism?
Oh, God. Now you've just ruined my entire intro that I was going to do, Rose.
No, because some podcasts, are very professional. They're like, they have like a whole thing that they do in the beginning.
We have our intro. That's professional.
Daniel, you know what's not professional?
Do you want to close the
Having
window?
the window open with sirens.
Do you want to close it?
Yes, I would like to close it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Pause. All right, guys, welcome back to an unprofessional episode of the SaVeg podcast.
So let's just start this again, all right? We're going to go...
Are you sure you don't have that in?
Well, I'll have it in, but
Okay.
we're going to reset.
Okay, you go, Daniel.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to this week's episode of the SaVeg podcast.
Oh, great, Daniel. Good job on the professionalism. I'm Rose.
And I'm Daniel. It's so weird. Like it already says at the beginning.
I guess we do have our little intro in the beginning.
Exactly. So I feel like we don't have to
true.
necessarily be like,
that's true.
on this episode of the SaVeg podcast.
Well, on this
will be
episode of the SaVeg podcast, we will be discussing.
Oh God, we are discussing a lot of stuff today, guys.
Yeah, we need to jump right in.
It's kind of nice because, well, it's not nice, but like there's just so much going on today.
Can I also make another observation?
What's that?
Of what you do.
What do I do? Oh God. What do I do, Rose? I'm done.
Is this the end?
Yeah, this is the end.
Are you breaking up with me?
I am, yeah. Okay, what are you going to tell me now? Let's hear it.
Daniel, you always do this thing where you always say this. It's funny. Well, it's not so funny. It's really nice. Oh, well, it's not so nice.
Do I actually do that all the time?
Oh my God, you do it at least probably 2 or 3 times per episode.
I don't believe that for 2
seconds.
seconds.
I'm gonna make a compilation.
Yeah, you need to do a compilation of me
it's
being
funny.
like,
well, it's not really funny.
I mean, I can see myself doing that with ironic. Like I definitely done that. It's like it's ironic. Well, actually, maybe it's not ironic.
No, you do it mostly with the funny.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so your thing is it's funny. Well, I mean, it's not so funny.
God damn.
Oh, I'm so observant. Anyway, I think
are.
it's cute. I just wanted to point it out so that now you're very self-conscious.
And now all of our listeners are going to listen out for that, and then they're going to pick it up every time.
They're going to make a compilation. Guys, if anybody wants to make a compilation, that would be fantastic. Anyways, what's nice but not so nice?
No, I mean, it's just like there's just so much to talk about this week.
I know.
It's like actually crazy. Like there's just... I feel like we're not even gonna have time to cover everything we want to cover.
We're not.
About.
I mean, there's definitely some stories that I wanted to talk about, but I think we're gonna skip some of those and we're gonna go right into Bill Gates.
Oh God.
Oh shit.
Damn. Oh my God, guys.
This thing. Okay, so last episode we talked about how we don't know if Bill Gates is an evil bastard.
Well, we didn't say that exactly, okay. But we were like, obviously,
I wasn't sure.
Yeah. And we also mentioned about how obviously like him and Melinda have filed for divorce. And okay, so actually this story has 2 parts because like recently I saw this and I was like really like
I apologize.
I was like really frustrated with the whole situation about Bill Gates. So basically what had happened, I think it was last week. So he's actually reversed his opinion on this, but I'm going to
because of all the pressure?
Yes.
Oh shit.
But I'm going to just like read you guys what had happened. So Bill Gates was on an interview, I think it was for the BBC in the UK, and they were asking him about COVID vaccine patents, right? So I guess there's a lot of countries that at the moment don't necessarily have the patents needed
or the
know-how to make some of these vaccines. So they're relying really heavily on, shipments from other countries or whatever else. Whereas if if the US was to lift the patent protection,
right,
and allow these other countries to make like a generic version of it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like their own kind of version, but with the same recipe. It could really, really help the global supply of the vaccine, right? Bill Gates got a lot of heat and a lot of backlash because he came onto this show, and this lady, I'm going to read you guys what he said.
Oh, you're gonna read direct quotes.
I'm gonna read the direct quote.
He basically was asked if it would be a good idea to lift the patent protection.
Exactly.
Which basically would allow these countries, to make these vaccines, which would save a lot of lives.
Hugely.
See, that's like the biggest thing.
So here's it. Okay. So in an interview with Britain's Sky News this week, so this was last week, guys, the billionaire philanthropist was asked if he thought it would be helpful to lift intellectual property protections on COVID-19 variants.
Vaccines, not variants.
Vaccines. Oh my God. I can't even read today, guys. We just had to, my elevator is broken in my apartment, apparently.
Don't use this excuse,
and we had to
Daniel.
just walk up 8 flights of stairs to my apartment.
That should have rushed the blood to your brain.
Oh, God damn, Rose. I can't handle you today. Anyway, to lift intellectual property protections on COVID-19 vaccines. And to many people's surprise, his answer was no. He like blatantly, like she was like, do you think this would be helpful? He was like, no. And then he continued. He's like, the thing that's holding things back in this case is not intellectual property, Gates said. It's not like there's some idle vaccine factory with regulatory approval that makes magically safe vaccines. You've got to do the trial on these things, and every manufacturing process needs to be looked at in a very careful way, which I don't disagree with what he's saying. Like, obviously, you can't just have any like factory just like pounding out vaccines because obviously these are people's health on the line, right?
Sure.
But at the same time, it's not preventing, the US or, some of these big pharmaceutical companies to go into those countries and help them get their, production up to par of what they're doing in the States.
Right.
Like, it's not like the States is isolated where they have only one unique thing that you can't get anywhere else in the world.
Sure.
And he just said there's only so many vaccine factories in the world, and people are very serious about the safety of vaccines, he added. Moving a vaccine from, say, a Johnson & Johnson factory which is in the US, into a factory in India, it's novel. It's only because of our grants and our expertise that can happen at all.
Interesting.
So like the reason, like obviously the reason he received like so much backlash on that is because people are like, look, and he basically was saying like, lifting these patents isn't necessarily going to help supply.
Right.
Which people are like, okay.
Well, I mean, I think what he's saying, to play devil's advocate.
Yeah.
Because initially I kind of like skimmed his interview and I wasn't listening I just heard the no and I was like,
yeah,
he's evil.
Yeah.
Reading this, to play devil's advocate, I don't necessarily think he's saying that it wouldn't increase supply.
Yeah.
He's not really saying that. What he's saying more so, is that your phone?
Yeah, just ignore it.
Okay. Anyway, what he's saying more so, I think, not saying this is correct necessarily, is that first of all, he's saying there aren't many vaccine factories in the world, which I think that was very quickly debunked. Yeah. But I think the main thing that I guess would have a little bit of, merit would be that he's saying that it's not, it has to go through like regulatory approval and all of that stuff. But again, I do think he is making excuses.
100%. Because the way that I look at this, like I get what he's saying. Like I do understand his argument about saying like, not like every, Joe Schmo on the street with a factory can make the vaccine.
Sure.
But at the same time, there's also across the world, even in developing nations, some really high standard facilities.
Sure.
And
it's also a little bigoted to say like, oh, in India, they're just not going to do a good job.
Exactly.
Well, there's a chance that in developing countries, like for sure, certain countries, like they're not going to follow protocol, maybe. Right.
Yeah.
But like he's kind of painting them all with the same brush.
Exactly. And I think that's part of the reason why he got so much backlash on this, because, obviously there's so many countries out there, and they were like, part of this, like one video I was watching as well, they were talking about the number of vaccines that have been distributed so far.
Right.
And they were saying in like more westernized developed, the rich countries, basically, they were saying that, about 1 in 4 people have already received their first dose of the vaccine, whereas there's some developing nations that haven't even started rolling out vaccines.
Right. Which is a very big problem.
Exactly. Which again, like this is a global issue because, and I think we've mentioned this on the podcast before, but like, if the virus is unchecked in another area of the world, it's going to continue to mutate and it's going to continue to, keep passing on. And even if we all get vaccinated here in Canada, for example, there's going to be new variants that get mutated that could come back into Canada and we'll be back to square one. You know? So
it's not even just the issue, which I mean, it should be enough that it's like a selfish thing to not allow people to basically, live and get the vaccine.
Yeah.
But it's also an issue of like, okay, this is kind of stupid because if we don't vaccinate everybody, we're in a global situation where you're going to easily transfer it back.
Yeah, I think this is a perfect example. And again, another thing that we talk about quite a lot in this podcast is a lot of these issues that we're facing are global issues, right? So it's like, and I use that example. Remember I talk about the boat and like,
what's the boat? Oh, the sinking boat.
The sinking boat.
I love
right?
that analogy,
I know.
Daniel.
So like if we're in a sinking boat and let's say me and Rose have like a little bucket and we're at the front of the boat, just kind of scooping water out of the boat, but then there's somebody behind us with like a fire hose filling the boat up, like we're just going to sink, right? So, and I think that a lot of these issues that we're facing, like this is just one of them, this global pandemic and, you know, obviously climate change, all of these issues are global. And it's like, we're not going to be able to address them isolated in one country.
Yeah.
So you can vaccinate your whole country all you want. It's not going to defeat the problem as soon as the variant or the virus mutates and then a new strain comes in.
Yeah.
So unless we kind of come up with a global strategy and a global kind of approach to these issues, like it's not going to get resolved.
Right. So what I want to know also, I don't know if you did any digging on this, but like, is Bill Gates like, is there some sort of compensation he's getting from, you know, like what is is there a reason he's saying this other than him being a little bit bigoted?
Well, I think I think that there was some speculation that he's linked to Big Pharma.
Sure.
So either, you know, he's got some friends there.
Right.
He's like, you know, maybe he's invested in Big Pharma.
Right.
Because like right now.
Probably.
Yeah.
That's my assumption.
Because the thing is, at the end of the day, the biggest thing that kind of leapt out to me, I get what they're saying, but I do think they're kind of like, not sugarcoating the issue, but they're like, we're giving a really weak answer as to why
it's not a very good
response.
It's really not.
Yeah. And
because they can still do things like maybe help with quality control.
Exactly.
Or whatever, right? And there are like you're just assuming that these other countries are just not doing their due diligence.
Exactly, which is really bad.
Yeah.
So that kind of like this whole, obviously this received tons of backlash.
And then what did he say?
So it's funny because I was getting like ready for me and Rose to record this podcast, and I was just like type this in because I wanted to get this article up about this. Sure. And then I saw that he had
there's an update.
Yeah, there's an update. So this is originally what happened and what made a lot of people like quite
angry,
furious,
yes.
which rightly so. So apparently the Gates, it says Gates Foundation reverses their position on COVID vaccine patent protections after mounting pressure. So the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation announced Thursday that it supports the lifting of patent protections on coronavirus vaccine technologies. Gates' CEO issued a statement saying the Seattle-based philanthropic organization.
That's a strange word.
It is a very strange word. Organization has been working for more than a year to make sure vaccines are reach as many people as possible. And this is also why so many people had an issue with his comment. Because he's been very vocal about he wants to make this vaccine available for everyone.
Right.
And if there's like a barrier for other countries, it just doesn't make sense to what he's saying. Right. And then where was it? But there was a really interesting piece here at the bottom.
So it wasn't him that made this reversal comment. It was his
organization. But I mean, it's right. I don't know. Where was the really interesting part here that I wanted to read out here? Oh yeah, here we go. So Reuters reported that a pharmaceutical industry source said U.S. companies would fight to ensure any waiver agreed upon, so any waiver for patent protections, it's going to be a very narrow and limited as window as possible. As companies working on the vaccines, all the companies in the U.S. and everything else have reported sharp revenue and profit gains during the pandemic. So obviously,
so messed up.
I know. So obviously, these companies, which are already making so much money, are like, we. First of all, they're not supporting the patent. They're like the pharmaceutical industry for sure is not behind.
Of course,
this right, but what I was going to say is, so obviously they're advocating to say, okay, we'll do this, but for a very short, limited time, for a small window to help these other countries. And it's like, you guys are already making so much money. What the fuck is your problem? Seriously, we're in a global pandemic.
Like literally, what the fuck is your problem?
I know.
Like I sometimes want to shake these people and be like, do you not like, who are these?
I know.
Who are these people?
Well, I can't remember if it was the video that I sent you also, but some people were saying one of the frustrating things about like vaccine research and everything else is they were saying
yes,
a lot of it is government funded. So they were saying a lot of these like research programs and everything else, they get a lot of funding from the government. And obviously the government gets funding from taxpayers, which is essentially us. And then they're saying it's kind of backwards that it gets the funding and then, you know, one of these pharmaceutical companies will come up with some kind of like,
they apparently buy some kind of patent for it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the argument. Because what they would argue is that, like if it's not for profit, then there's no research, or like people are not going to do the work in order to make these vaccines because, you know, there needs to be a profit motive, apparently.
Well, there always has to be. It's capitalism, you know? God damn, there's always a profit motive.
But then, the counter argument, I think it's from that video, the crystal ball video, I think, where she like talked about this. And I've heard a lot of other people say it as well, where, they said like the research was actually publicly funded from universities.
Yeah.
And then these pharmaceutical companies, for some reason, are allowed to just like
buy the research,
buy the patent.
Okay.
And then I don't know what that means, but like buy the rights to that. Yeah. And then they're the only ones that can do it, which is like so fucked up.
See, that's crazy because then like it's crazy to me. Like I don't know the full intricacies of it and how it all works, obviously. But like if the government or if the university with government backing is making these patents and learning about these vaccines, then the pharmaceutical company comes in, obviously pays probably a substantial amount.
Yeah.
But probably a small portion of the profit that they end up making.
Sure.
So my question or my kind of pushback would be like, why isn't it some kind of profit sharing scheme with the government so they can get back a lot of that money that they've invested?
We're talking about a country that does not give healthcare to its citizens.
That's true.
I don't really know.
Yeah, because this to me blows my mind. It blows my mind that, you know, again, taxpayers, the bill, and this happens so often, and it really frustrates me how so many burdens fall on the taxpayers.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like when we had the financial markets crash and all these companies needed bailing out, it was government money that bailed them out.
Yeah.
And then, you know, we're the ones that are having to foot the bill for that. For them, for those companies taking excessive risk and being irresponsible, we as taxpayers are paying for that. So it's like, and it's like the similar thing here. It's like, okay, well, that just doesn't seem right. Like,
yeah, I mean, even just the concept of having a profit motive for something that's life-saving
exactly
is already, I think, very messed up.
I think it's very backwards. Yeah. I think that whole, you know, because it's same with like, you know, if any company comes up with like the surefire cure for cancer or something, right? They're going to patent the shit out of that.
Right.
And then they're going to make a massive profit off of it, right?
Aren't there some conspiracies that say that like there have found cure? Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the validity of those conspiracies are, but like, I mean, I wouldn't put it past it.
I've heard that argument as well.
Right? Yeah. Like that some, you know, there are already cures for cancer or something. And even just these foundations that do the cancer research. Yeah. I've heard also it's like how much of it is actually going to the research. I mean, you know what I mean? There's a lot of speculation when it comes to cancer.
Yeah. Well, because the whole argument there is they say, and again, guys, I don't know the full, we don't know for sure, but like the argument that I've heard, I haven't done enough research to find out if this is true or not, but is that the like Breast Cancer Association, all those places, like they get so much money from the fundraising, you know, it's become this huge thing globally. It's
like a marketing campaign.
Yeah. And so like it's almost in their best interest not find a cure, because then they're going to have, because if they get a cure to breast cancer, the Breast Cancer Association no longer has to fundraise.
Exactly.
So,
and how much money are they making? Like what's happening? I don't know.
Again, guys, this is all speculation. We don't know for sure. So,
but I mean, it is a bit weird. I always found the whole breast cancer, again, not to, you know, shit on anything, but like the fact that it's such a big, like it seems like such a marketing campaign the whole time.
A lot of them are though, right? Like it's a huge, but especially the breast, like but the breast cancer one is huge.
We know breast cancer is a thing. Like we already know. I don't know much about other cancers, but I know about breast cancer.
That's true.
I know, you know, like the fact that already when you say breast cancer, the first picture that pops into my mind is that pink ribbon.
Yeah.
Like, should that be the first thing that pops into my mind?
And again, like we don't know how much these organizations are making from the fundraising. And this is another thing too that bothers me. That doesn't bother me about fundraising, but like, you know, some of these organizations, there's that whole, and not all organizations, guys, but there's a lot where a lot of the money that gets put into these organizations for donations, goes towards running the company, like that,
Right.
that not for profit, right?
Sure.
So yeah, I don't know. Because
Yeah.
I think that they were saying there's like an 80-20 rule for a lot of organizations where 80% of your donation goes towards the administration, marketing, everything
Yeah.
else, and 20% goes to the actual cause.
Right.
But again, it will be different for different different organizations.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So that's story number 1.
So I mean, this story rubs me all the wrong way.
I know.
Like it really does. Like, I think, there's some really powerful comments in here as well. It was saying like, the Bill Gates Foundation, committed over 1.75 billion towards COVID-19 response globally, which is amazing, right?
Yeah.
But then on the flip side, he's doing this kind of stuff. Do you know what I mean?
See, this is why I'm very torn when it comes to Bill Gates.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, on one hand, I'm like, I do feel like he has good intentions.
Yeah.
And then he'll go and like do stuff like this. And I'm sure there's some other things. And sometimes I just wonder, it's like, do people just become so far gone when you become like super rich and then you just spend so much time with, these CEOs of organizations and, really rich and powerful people?
Yeah.
Like, I don't even think that he has bad intentions, but like, have you been so not with the people for so long that you're now just
out of touch with reality?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm really conflicted with this because again, I think the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, for example, has done a lot of great work.
Yeah.
And so, and for the most part, when I hear him talking about the pandemic and, he was,
that's the thing. He's very convincing to be a nice person.
Yeah. And I remember even when this all started, like even before this whole pandemic, his foundation was like pushing to have like an emergency response and like really being advocates of, being prepared because he was
warned
like,
us.
Exactly. He was like, this is coming. This is going to happen. He's a very intelligent man. And then this kind of stuff happens as well, where I'm just like, oh, Bill, like, oh, Bill, my buddy,
What's the full name for Bill? Is it William?
Yeah, I think William.
Why
usually.
is that? It's
one of those weird things.
Yeah, English is a very weird language.
Like, another one is like Robert can be Bob.
Yeah.
Like what?
But I think I found this out when I was an adult. Like I didn't know.
Yeah.
And then I was like, what?
It's so weird, guys.
English is very weird. Anyways, William, can we not do this?
William, I know William. Honestly,
William Gates.
Like I think after this podcast, we'll get Bill on the phone.
Get Bill.
Have a chat with him. Get our buddy Bill on and just say, Bill, what are you doing?
I did go to an island that supposedly Bill Gates owns.
Really? Which island?
It was like somewhere when I was in like Tanzania, and then I was in like, so Tanzania has an island called Zanzibar.
He owns it?
No, but then there's like small islands, I think, near it. I think it was there. There's like small islands near Zanzibar.
Yeah.
So I was like on one of those islands, and somebody said that it was like Bill Gates, and I was like, okay then.
And like, I just think like another thing like that just kind of irks me, and maybe because I'm not a billionaire, but like, is it kind of weird that we have a planet where people can own islands?
But even just owning property, right? Because some people would even argue that, even just owning land.
Yeah, true.
Why is that all of a sudden your land?
Yeah. It's weird. It's weird. Very strange. Like, is it, because you're right. It's like, how have we staked claim that this land is ours?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
Anyway.
You just kill a bunch of the people living on it, and then all of a sudden it's yours.
Yeah.
And you're called an explorer.
That's so true.
That's what we learned in Canadian history class.
God damn. Whoever gets there first gets to take it. Apparently.
They're not even there first.
No,
whoever
that's true.
kills all the people on there first gets to take it.
That's true. Pillage and kill.
God.
Oh God. Anyway.
Anyways, so this is a little bit more not so important, I guess. I mean, it's not a global pandemic issue.
Yeah.
It's more of a gossipy sort of situation.
It is a gossipy story.
But I thought it was interesting. So Melinda Gates, so we talked about the divorce last week, and now we might have a reason.
Yes. But this is all speculation, guys.
Yeah,
I actually read the article.
Oh, is it really speculation? Is it like a source tells us?
I kind of feel like it is that way.
Okay, then I don't really believe it anymore.
I know, because because I guess they tried to get a hold of Melinda and Bill's like reps and stuff, and they couldn't get a hold of them.
Of course.
So I just feel like I'm like a source of a source of a source is saying this.
Right.
But I guess there was comments. So basically, guys, if you don't know, the story was, I guess Melinda Gates has sought the divorce, and the reason being...
Okay, wait. So Melinda Gates sought divorce lawyers in 2019 amid report of Epstein dealings, reports say. So Melinda Gates' concern over Bill Gates' connection to convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein played a role in their divorce after 27 years, according to a pair of new reports. Again, very you know.
Yeah.
I mean, it might be true that there was that she did file for the divorce in 2019. I feel like that's probably easy to verify.
Yeah, she's saying Melinda's concerned with her husband's dealings with the convicted sex offender, as you mentioned. So the Daily Beast and the Wall Street Journal.
I mean, Wall Street Journal might be a little bit more of a credible source.
Daily Beast, I haven't heard of that.
I've heard of it. I don't know how credible they are, though.
Have reported that Microsoft co-founders' meetings over the years with Epstein, which were detailed in a 2019 story by the New York Times, became a source of tension between the couple. Blah, 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 blah. Spokesperson for both Bill and Melinda have not responded to requests for comment. Melinda, blah, 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 blah. Gates was asked in 2019 about his dealings with Epstein at a New York Times forum. And he said, I made a mistake in judgment and that I thought that those discussions would lead literally to billions of dollars going to global health, he said. Turned out that was a bad judgment. That was a mirage. None of that money ever appeared, and I gave him some benefit by the association. So I made a doubly wrong mistake there.
Okay, interesting. I mean, here's the thing, though. Again, I don't know the full details, but like I do find it like kind of when we just blame people just because they were like had some, you know, association with someone that was a convicted, you know, felon or whatnot.
It's like we're saying you're guilty by association.
Exactly.
Right? Because like you could have somebody in your life that you don't know, like a friend of a friend or even a friend of yours. Yeah. And it turns out, like, obviously this would be horrible, but it turns out they're doing something crazy, but you had no idea.
Exactly.
I mean, obviously with Epstein, it's a little bit different of a story because he
had a lot of like rich people also around him doing this stuff. I mean, I don't know the full Epstein story.
The Epstein story is crazy.
Oh God, I don't want to watch it.
I know.
I don't want to know. It's too dark.
But like, it's funny because there's like a lot of people. There's an Epstein documentary, guys, on Netflix. If you want to watch it, definitely do. It's very dark though. And it shocks me because there's literally people that are linked to Epstein and some of these girls, and they have literal pictures of them at these parties, like with some of the girls. And one of the guys was like, yep, I've never met this girl before in my life, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, well, can you explain this picture of you with her?
Oh,
he's like,
no.
He's like, oh, no, I don't know when that was taken. I don't know.
Who are these girls?
Just like
really young girls,
like young,
underage.
I think some of them were. Yeah, there was a whole scandal, guys. I won't get into it because it is pretty.
It's like really messed up.
It's super messed up because it's like again, it's Epstein really utilized his like power and wealth and manipulated a lot of people, a lot of girls. So,
anyways, I mean, sad. This story. I don't know. It seems a little. I don't know.
I feel like it's like. Yeah. It sounds like Bill had met, and again, guys, we don't know for sure. We weren't there, but it sounds like maybe he was meeting up with Epstein because Epstein was like very wealthy and knew a lot of wealthy people.
But now everyone that meets up with him all of a sudden is guilty. No.
Exactly. So it sounds like he's like met up with him because he was hoping to get some donations to maybe his foundation or something like this, and then this has been taken a different turn. Again, we don't know for sure, but it is I do feel like that whole guilty by association, like it doesn't necessarily hold true. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
There can be truth to it, of course, but just because you're hanging out or you're friends with this certain person doesn't necessarily mean you're participating in the behavior that they're doing, right?
Exactly. So, oh my God, what about my story?
I know we need to get into your story. Okay, now. Like this is big.
I almost forgot because I was like seeing all these other headlines. I'm like, God damn. Well, guys, I already talked about this in my YouTube video.
Yeah.
I don't know if you watched it. I assume you did not.
I watched part of it.
Of course you did. Probably the first like 30 seconds. Anyways. Which video? My video or their video?
No. I watched their whole video.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you guys have not heard, so obviously this is going to be kind of old news by the time this comes out to the public. By the way, sign up for a Patreon so you can get the episodes in a timely manner. Yeah. Just a little plug there.
Yeah.
Anyways, so this story blew up all over YouTube, and I hate it for so many reasons.
Oh, it's
not just one reason, but like multiple. Like I just hate everybody. I think that's the theme. Like
you're gonna get that on a t-shirt, Rose.
Yeah, I hate everybody.
Yeah,
because I hate the people that did this. I also hate the reaction from everybody because it's so. I don't want to say sensationalized. And hypocritical.
Yeah.
But anyways, I'll tell the story. So basically, a YouTube couple named Nikki Phillippi and Dan Phillippi. I think I'm saying their name right.
Phillippi
or Phillippi. I don't know. Okay. I think it's Phillippi.
Okay.
Because I think I heard them saying it and I was like, that's weird. But anyway.
But you do also have weird pronunciation of people's names, Rose. So
excuse me, like, Danielle.
What were you saying about
Demi?
Demi
Demi is not a weird pronunciation. Anyway. So Nikki and Dan, married couple. They've been married for over 10 years, I believe.
Yeah.
And they recently had a toddler. And before the toddler, they already had 2 dogs, I believe.
Yeah.
So one dog was a very small little miniature dog. One dog was named Bowser.
Yeah.
And he was I can't remember the breed.
Like a
somebody told me.
Not a
bull
bulldog.
terrier?
Bull terrier,
something
maybe?
like that.
Yeah.
Anyways, so he, he's not too big of a dog, but like, anyways, he was about 10 or 11 years old.
Yeah.
This other dog, Bowser. And recently they made first an Instagram post and then they made a YouTube video.
Yeah.
Where basically they explained that they had to put down Bowser, basically give him euthanasia.
Yeah.
And the reason why this became such a big story is because most people, when they put down a dog, or at least what we know of, right? Yeah. Most people, when they put down a dog, it's because they were at the end of their rope. Like they were sick. Yeah. The dog had a terminal illness.
Yeah.
It was just, there was no hope, right? So in order to put them out of their misery.
Yeah. Because it's like kind of a nice, a kind thing to do.
Yes, it's a kind thing to do to the dog. When they're at the very end, there's no other, chance for them to live or whatnot. But what they did was they put down Bowser because Bowser was apparently aggressive. Okay. Now, a lot of people are speculating that he wasn't even as aggressive as they say he was, right? Which I kind of agree based on what they've said. Okay. Yeah. So we can only go by what they've said.
Exactly. Because we don't know. We're not there with that dog, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So the problem is they basically went on this whole story in the YouTube video about how he was always aggressive. Ever since he was a puppy, he had some issues with aggression, they said.
Yeah. Because didn't they say he was like, when he was a puppy, he got attacked by another dog?
Exactly.
So that's what stemmed from him having like trauma or something. So then he goes very like aggressive towards like other dogs and stuff. Yeah.
So basically they mentioned in the video that Bowser became an indoor dog, which already I was like, ooh, red flag, because you can't just claim a dog as an indoor dog. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't just be like, let me just keep you inside and then call you an indoor dog. And then all of a sudden you're just going to be a happy dog indoors.
Exactly.
It doesn't work that way. You're basically putting a dog in prison. And yeah, they had a yard to run around, but again, that's not enough. Imagine if you just had a house and a yard. Yeah. People are fucking going crazy over fucking COVID.
I know. This is so true.
You fucking people are going crazy over COVID and dogs need to run more than humans do.
Yeah.
So to me, that was like, okay, you can't. Anyway, so he had these aggression issues, and instead of, again, we don't know if they got a trainer, but I think that's something very important to say in a video where you're explaining why you put down your dog.
That's one thing that really jumped out to me. Right? Exactly. That's one thing that really jumped out to me because, I don't know like about you guys, but like in the past, I've seen so many like shows about dogs.
Yes.
Where they're like, I can't even remember. There was like a hit TV show or something. It was like this.
Is it Caesar Milan?
I think so. Yeah. Where he would like come
whisperer.
in. Yes. The dog whisperer.
Yes.
Where he would come in with these like super, super problematic dogs. And he would come in there and he would help them with whatever. And the thing with a lot of dogs is, and again, I'm not a dog owner. So again, I'm just speaking from what I've seen and experienced is like, a lot of the behavior that dogs have is trained. So it's all about training those dogs to behave in a certain way. And I think, and this Caesar Milan used to come in and again, it was a TV show. So I don't know, but he would come in and really work on that dog. And dogs that have trauma and have lots of stuff go on with them, they need a lot of help. Yeah. Right. They need, just as a person would need to go see a therapist and do all kinds of stuff to become comfortable and everything else. It's the same with a dog. Right. And I think like that was one big red flag for me as well. When I was like, when the whole time they talked about it,
I was waiting.
Yeah. I was like, cause they were like, and another thing that really jumped out to me as well is they'd had the dog for 10 years.
That's the thing.
Like, this is what also shocked me. I was like, you've had this dog for 10 years and now you're saying the dog's too aggressive. Like you're going to put it down. I'm like, but you've had it for 10 years. Like what?
He hasn't had any, here's the thing. He hasn't had any actual issues, right? Like, it's not like maybe because they just kept him inside. I don't know. Yeah. But like,
well, they did say
they did say he had some issues. Yeah. But we don't know the details.
Exactly. They did mention as well in the video. They said that he like bit their toddler or something.
Okay. Yeah. So we'll get to the toddler part is where this is why it became an issue. Yeah. They didn't say he bit. Did he say he bit the toddler?
I think so. Yeah.
I think they said he like,
or
I don't know if it was,
him.
I don't know if it was a bite or there was some kind of altercation where, the toddler got like a scar or something. Yeah. The problem is, so that's the reason ultimately why they put the dog down because they recently had a baby. Yeah. And, well, first of all, I mean, if I were planning on having a baby and I had an aggressive dog, I would probably want to train that dog before having a baby. Yeah. Okay. That's like another huge thing where I'm like, this is insane. Like, even just for the safety of my baby, even if I didn't give a shit about the dog, which I mean, insane.
Yeah, it's funny though, Rose, because another thing that jumped out to me. There's a lot of things that apparently a lot of things jumped out to me.
The video. What did you think of the whole energy of the video?
Oh, it was weird.
Did it seem like she was acting, especially the woman?
I don't know. He seemed quite emotional.
Yeah,
but like I feel like she was just kind of like
everyone had a problem because she had a fucking coffee in her hand. Yeah, and was sipping. I'm like, your dog. Like I don't know when they put the dog down. Yeah, but like I would be a fucking mess and a half. Yeah, like I wouldn't even get the words out. And
he had to leave. Like he couldn't.
Yeah, but she was just like, and it was almost like she had moments where she like, kind of, like had to be emotional. Like she kind of forced the emotion. Yeah. Anyways, I'm sorry.
But like part of the issue that I had as well, because I get like they're saying, oh, we have this, aggressive dog, and we're having a child, and we're really concerned. But then they kind of bit themselves in the foot many times, because one of the things they mentioned during this video as well, which I was like, okay, because they said when their baby was really young, Bowser was really patient, and Bowser didn't attack the child, was like leaving it alone. And they said that Bowser knew that he had to get into his own space, right? So he'd have his own little space that he'd go over there.
And they just let the child get into the space.
Exactly. So this is the problem that I had, is they said, oh, and they even mentioned it. They're like, oh, I don't know what their son's name was or whatever, but they said that he would go up to Bowser into his space, start pulling on his ears and doing all this stuff. And they said actually he was doing it so much to Bowser that one of his ears bruised or something.
Yeah, and they said it was injured to the point where it took a month to heal.
Exactly. So that's not one time. You know what I mean? The toddler is and what would happen, they said, is he would get into Bowser's space, pull on his ear and everything else. Bowser would walk away and go somewhere else. And then
that's not an aggressive dog.
And then the toddler would follow him and do it. So it was almost like it was eventually building up to be
right.
And think about it, it's like anyone, even me, for example, if Rose is bugging me one day, I can take only so much before I snap, so, but
okay, no, but that's the crazy thing, right? Yeah. They kept going back and forth. Yeah. And they were kind of, and I know that, maybe it was an emotional video, right? Yeah. So they were not making sense though, because in one breath they'd be like, Bowser was the best dog. This type of dog is my favorite dog. Like the dad said that. Yeah. And then they'll be like, well, he was also very aggressive and had issues, but also he was very patient with our baby. Yeah. But also
he also attacked the baby.
It's like, okay, well, here's the thing. The baby is still a baby. This is still a toddler. Mm-hmm. The toddler does not know what he's doing, right? Mm-hmm. He's a toddler. Don't you have to watch the toddler? I don't have a child, so maybe I don't know, but it's still a toddler. It's not like he's 5. I mean, even when he's 5, you should probably watch him. No?
Yeah, but if they're 5, you can reason with them and say, okay, you have to be nice to the dog. You have to,
exactly
give him his space. But when they're really young, they don't know. Room? You would think so. But I mean, it sounds like they were in the room, because they were they would see it happen. Yeah. They were like, oh, he would get into his space and pull his ear, and then Bowser would go move somewhere else.
It's crazy.
And then the toddler would follow him. And it's at that point, you interject and get the kid playing with something else, because obviously you don't want, because if they were worried and they're saying that this dog is aggressive, the last thing that they want is their toddler to be teasing the dog.
Exactly.
If it's an aggressive dog, you would be hyper
you are
aware.
Waiting for something. This is what I'm saying. Exactly. It doesn't make sense.
Exactly.
Anyways, so another thing that fucking pissed me off. This whole fucking thing pissed me off.
God damn.
Okay. So then they put the dog down. Okay. Mm-hmm. They made this fucking video. Okay, no. Another thing that I didn't mention. Okay, by the way, guys, I did do a YouTube video as well, complaining about this whole thing. But I will, we're gonna do a deep dive.
Oh, God damn. Okay, we dive in deep.
We dive in deep. Okay. And maybe I make more sense in the YouTube video than now, because now I'm heated again.
Of course, I can see.
Anyways, so another thing that they said was, so ultimately, this is the main thing that happened. Yeah. Is, I guess, the baby was taking the dog's food.
Yes, that's right. Yeah,
okay, rule number 1 with anyone, do not fucking take anybody's food, especially a dog.
I know. Well, let me tell you, if someone tries to take my food, I'll probably bite their hand as well. Yeah. God damn.
Don't be trying to fucking take my food.
No.
Imagine if you're eating and then somebody fucking takes your food.
Oh, God, I'd be so pissed. You wouldn't want to flip the table. Okay, God damn.
So, an aggressive dog. Yeah. That they've been, and then, oh my God, and another thing. Mm-hmm. Did you have you seen the movie Old Yeller?
No, I haven't seen it.
But did you remember what that guy said about Old Yeller?
Yeah,
I was like, what?
I know, because the Old Yeller, they like shot, didn't they? They had to shoot him.
Yeah, so basically the guy, his name is Dan, right?
Yeah.
So Dan was saying how something like
he was like, oh yeah. He was like, oh, I was gonna take him out in the backyard and do like an Old Yeller.
Like, I've always, he's like, I grew up with the movie Old Yeller, so I've always imagined myself taking him out to the back and just, shooting him right there.
Mm-hmm.
What? This is your dog. This is your fucking dog.
I know.
This is your fucking like son, your family member. Like this is like not just what? That is not normal. Who says that?
I know.
This is your fucking family. You've had this dog for 10 years.
This is what got me as well, though, is like,
who says that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, continue. Sorry.
But like this is why there's just so many flaws with their argument. And like, again, okay, you've had the dog for 10 years. That's a fucking long time. Dogs only live like that. I think most dogs live like 15 to 18 years or something like that.
You're being very generous there.
Yeah.
Like 15 is probably already a very old dog.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you have like 5 more years left with the dog. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but they're afraid that the another child might take their food.
Exactly. But then they do talk about emphasize. Oh, this is a really aggressive dog. This dog has behavior problems. But yet again, letting your toddler pull his ears, letting your toddler get in front of the dog and take its food. Like if you knew that your dog was an aggressive dog, you as a parent would be hyper aware.
That's what I'm saying.
You would be hyper aware because you'd be like, I don't want anything to happen with my child and this dog. And it sounded like they said Bowser was amazing when the kid was a baby.
Yeah.
Bowser was really good at like keeping the space, and it was the toddler that kept invading the dog's space.
Which leads me to believe that they didn't actually think he was that aggressive.
Yeah.
But they had one incident where the toddler kept, bugging him. And eventually he snapped. And then, he snapped. And it doesn't seem like, again, of course it's a scary situation.
Yeah.
But it doesn't seem like it was like a huge, like they made it seem like, they were like, oh yeah, it wasn't like a huge thing.
Yeah.
But like something happened, right? Where he snapped a little bit. Mm-hmm. I don't think he didn't do like too much harm.
Yeah.
Because another thing that people are saying is that at the end, when like right before they killed this dog, they did this like weird photo shoot where they were like hugging the dog.
Yeah.
And then the child was right next to the dog.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you're killing him because he's too aggressive.
Yeah.
Yet he's smiling. He's next to the baby. No problem. And I'm just like,
it's very strange.
It's very strange.
It seems like, and I don't want to like jump on like judging people and whatever else, but just from that video, it just seems like what has happened is they've realized with a toddler and the dogs and everything else, it's a lot of work and it's too much for them. And he might have slight behavioral problems because of what happened. Yeah. Which they have, it sounds like they've never addressed with training as well.
Yes.
Plus, they've made it worse by keeping him inside all the time. And like not like, yeah, okay, he goes on the backyard, but like they were saying, oh, he's so aggressive and stuff, but like, can they not still take him on a walk on a leash? Like
apparently not.
Like I just don't.
Yeah, because some people were saying like the fact that they said it's an indoor dog.
Yeah.
I guess that means that they don't walk him.
Yeah.
And some people did say that they stopped walking him, which is insane.
Exactly.
It's absolutely insane.
So you're putting an animal that needs to have a lot of exercise to kind of de-stress itself.
Yeah.
You're leaving it in a house or in a small backyard. Leaving him in like a backyard and not being able to get like exercise and everything else. And it's like, of course they're gonna hit a breaking point.
I'm surprised he didn't snap earlier.
I know.
Like genuinely.
Yeah.
Like imagine Nari, my dog. Imagine her being inside all day. Oh, like I don't think she'd be violent, but she would go insane.
Yeah.
Actually, who knows? Maybe she will be violent. Who knows?
Yeah. Because you just don't know what she would be like because
she's insane already.
She's already crazy.
She's crazy.
Yeah.
And anyways, this story just pissed me off. And another thing, oh my God, I have so many points with this fucking story. So the one thing that really did piss me off, aside from this family, the reaction. Okay, here's the thing. I get it. And I get it. Like you can see that I'm very emotional about this and I'm very passionate about this. And dogs are, people love dogs. But I just want people to note, and I mentioned, this is like one of my main points in my YouTube video, but I just want people to note the hypocrisy of, the reaction of this versus when vegans talk about like animal rights issues.
Yeah.
And because we're always told to be really nice and kind and don't be judgmental.
And everyone's like, murderers! Yeah. You killed your dog!
Literally every comment. Yeah. Every second comment. I was going through their fucking comments.
They've turned comments off, by the way, now.
Of course they did, which is why I screenshot a bunch of them.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh Rose,
because I was like going through their comments,
and you're like, for sure they're gonna turn these off.
Oh, I mean, I didn't think that far, but I was mainly thinking like, okay, literally every comment is like, you're a murderer, you're a fucking horrible person, you're fucking, you know, and
how could you do this? Yes. Blah, 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 blah.
You killed your dog because he bit your son. I think the words you needed to say were, we murdered our dog because we're heartless pieces of shit. Oh, God. Bro, you fucking killed your dog. And then he didn't die, you murdered him. Anyways, stuff like this, which again, I understand the sentiment, but like, I don't use those words. Why? Because I'm vegan and I'm not allowed to. Okay. But like, think about here's the thing, like that energy that we have against like this one dog, which is heartbreaking. Yeah. But think about how many animals die every single fucking day. Yeah. And every second of every day in the animal agriculture industry, and nobody cares, and everybody calls vegans judgmental.
Yeah, but Rose, it's because they're for food, those animals, you know.
Fuck! I'm gonna fucking kill somebody if anybody else fucking says this bullshit. Here's the thing. I get it. I
purposely did that.
You would trigger me.
We need a trigger warning. Don't even get me started about fucking trigger warnings, okay?
I need a trigger warning for that trigger warning.
Oh, God, for that trigger warning.
Oh God. So anyways, it's ridiculous. Yeah. And like, and my point isn't even like, you know, you're a hypocrite because you're not vegan. Yeah. My point is mostly because society, the whole society is hypocrite because they allow, like when people write, oh, murderer, nobody is telling them, oh, that's really, you know, it's extreme. Too much. Yeah. You're extreme. You're preachy.
Murder can only be associated to humans.
Exactly. They're not going to say that. Yeah. But when a vegan says it, oh my God, you're a fucking horrible person because you're being preachy and you're trying to make somebody change their lifestyle.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, I agree. It's like there's just so much hypocrisy with everything. It's like, for example, if like a family was walking down the street with their kids and I just happened to have, well, not myself, but maybe somebody else had a cow in their front yard and they just decided to slaughter it in their front yard because they're making, you know, steak or whatever. Yeah. Slaughter the cow. Of course, the mom would probably be like, oh my God, kids, don't look. Yeah. Blah, 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 blah. Let's get home for our hamburgers. You know, like, like
oh my God, how could you?
I know. I can't believe that we need to call someone. This guy's literally killing a cow in his front yard.
Legit.
Whereas it's so
stupid.
It is so frustrating with these things.
It's frustrating. Like, again, I get it. It's slightly different. I understand every circumstance is different. Yeah. But is it? Yeah, it's different in that it's much worse in the animal agriculture industry. Yeah. And they actually suffer and fucking, you know, live horrible lives until they fucking die.
Yeah. Because isn't the whole argument too, like a lot of people when you talk about being vegan, one of the things they said, well, you know, if the animal lived a good life, and was humanely killed, well, in this instance,
it was the most humane.
Exactly. In this circumstance, you know,
by the logic of, oh, as long as the animal lived a happy life, you know, as long as they were humanely slaughtered, whatever the fuck that means, then it's fine. By that logic, this is fine. By that logic, there is no issue with this. Yeah. But you know, people only use that argument when it's in their favor. Exactly. And when they want to, you know, be preachy against somebody that's not doing what they're doing, then they can use all the fucking words that vegans are never allowed to use. Yeah. Murderer, fucking, you know, heartless pieces of shit. And I'm like, okay, fuck, you know. And then, okay, another thing I wanted to say, which I didn't say in my video. Yeah. Actually, maybe I did. Yeah. But like, one thing I will say, and it's not in defense of this couple, because I do think there was so much negligence and so many issues, and I do think, you know, there's no defending.
It does sound like this is, again, like just from what I've heard from that video of theirs. Yeah. And this is just from what they've put out in the public eye.
That's what I'm saying.
Is it does sound like negligence. Like it sounds like negligence. I think because a lot of people, God damn, a lot of people get dogs and don't realize how much work they are. Yeah. You know what I mean? Especially if they have behavioral problems, right? And that's what's happened with this couple. But it's like they've had the dog for 10 years. That's another thing where I'm just like, you've had the dog for 10 years.
I know. How can you even I can't even wrap my head around it.
I don't get it.
But my other you okay there, Daniel? God damn.
What's your other point, Rose?
My other point is that I do think that because they said in the video, they talked to a lot of professionals. And I mean, again, a lot of people are speculating that that's not true. Yeah. But I do think that this sort of method of dealing with aggressive dogs happens a lot more often than we know. Yeah. Like even just based on some of the comments that people left in my video, because I asked people for their expertise. and a lot of people that work maybe in the vet industry or, you know, animal shelters, they say that it just happens a lot. So like as soon as a dog or any animal shows any small sign of aggression, it's like the immediate default. I mean, maybe not always the immediate default, but like the euthanization happens a lot because again, I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of reasons behind it as well, but it's mainly because we just don't value animal lives as much. And I think one of the reasons is that there's not enough resources to take care of these animals.
Yeah, and train the behavior out of them.
Exactly.
Right? Like,
so when you ask like a shelter, they're not necessarily going to tell you, oh, you should train this dog, because they're probably wired to think, oh, aggressive dog, there's not enough resources to take care of this dog. There's too much liability. Yeah. He has to be put down.
That's true.
So I do think that they were possibly given this advice.
Yeah,
I do believe that.
Especially because they did mention about rehoming as well. Because they were like, we looked at rehoming, but I guess they were saying that if they rehome their dog, like their dog that's aggressive, gets rehomed and an attack happens,
right,
they're actually liable because it was their
Is that
dog.
Actually true? I mean, can't they just like sign some kind of paper that
like
says
a waiver?
No? Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm sure you could do that.
Yeah, probably. I'm sure there's ways to like to waive your you know, responsibility.
Yeah.
Like if you had like an agreement with somebody. Like if I was to give you my dog and I was like, Rose, this is a very aggressive dog.
Yeah.
By taking this dog, you take responsibility and you sign on the dotted line.
I feel like that's possible.
I feel like you could definitely do that. And I feel like that would hold up in court. You know what I mean? Like, why would that be
also the fact that the guy said, this is another red flag. The guy said like, nobody knows how to take care of Bowser more than me. I'm like, okay, no.
Well, then why are you killing him?
Exactly.
If no one can take care of him except for you.
That means that he can't take care of him either, so therefore he must die.
Like no one else can take care of him.
Yeah.
Because he's the dog whisperer. He's fucking Caesar, whatever his name is.
Yeah, you kept your dog inside for fucking 10 years.
Yeah.
Like, are you kidding?
So
it's a tough one because I do think that this is why I hate everybody, okay? I hate the couple for doing this.
Yeah.
I hate the fucking industry for, you know, and the kind of like system that allows this to happen so easily.
Yeah.
Because the fact that they even, this was allowed when there was no actual, you know, there wasn't much evidence to really suggest that he was very, very aggressive.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe there was. Who knows, right? Anyways, the system that allows dogs to just be euthanized so easily.
Yeah.
And then the backlash and the people that are not going to understand the hypocrisy of what they're
saying,
being angry about.
Yeah.
So I just hate, this is why I hate everybody. I hate everyone.
Well, you know what's also kind of scary? I was like hearing about, and again, this is all hearsay, guys, but like, I know for a fact, because I know a bunch of my friends have recently gotten dogs.
Sure.
And there's been like a massive shortage of dogs because everybody, they call it like the COVID dog boom, basically.
It's so fucked up.
Everybody's getting dogs right now because everyone's home, right? Everyone's home from work, like working from home. And we do have like naturally, like, I have not had more time to myself in this last year and like my entire life, like literally because we're not able to travel and do things and whatever else. So naturally you're like, I have all this extra time. I'm going to get a dog. But there's actually like big fear that like once things open up and people can start going out for drinks with friends and like going on holidays, people are going to realize actually what I don't want to say burden because it's not, it's like, you know, a member
what a responsibility.
Exactly. What a responsibility is to have a dog. Like that's part of the reason why I'm not getting a dog now or anytime in the near future, because I know with my lifestyle, I don't have time to take care of a dog properly. Right. So, and that's
the responsible thing to do. Don't get a dog if you can't take care of the dog.
Exactly. And they're just fearing that, you know, the shelters are going to get overflowed and stuff once people start going back to work and are like, fuck, I can't take care of this dog anymore.
I know, it's ridiculous.
So it's going to be really sad if
it happens so often. And it's like, God, it's just so messed up. I just can't even imagine. Like, I can't even imagine just being like, okay, not my dog anymore.
Yeah.
Like, I know there must be emotions behind it, but like, this is your fucking responsibility. When you bring a dog into your family, that is your family. That is not just some toy that you can just fucking discard whenever it's inconvenient.
I know, this is the thing. And that's another part of the reason. Like, I feel like this couple, they tried to make a justification, but like in all of their arguments, they just basically made themselves
too inconvenient.
Yeah, it made themselves look bad. Again, it looks like, it was inconvenient. It wasn't like, because it's like, you literally had this dog for 10 years.
Right.
Like that is a long time.
Crazy.
That's what gets me. It's like, it's not like they just got the dog. They've had it for like 5 months. It still would be horrible to euthanize it. But like, you kind of understand a bit more. You're like, oh, you just got a dog and it's super aggressive and you don't know what to do. You had this dog for 10 years. You have been dealing with this dog for 10 years and trying to.
But they just got a toddler.
I know. Well, and they're like, well, we don't know if we have another baby, how the dog's going to react. I'm like, well, if you let your children abuse the dog, it will bite them.
Yes.
Like, I think this is common sense. Even a non-aggressive dog, if you have your kid on top of that dog, taking food away from it, like that dog would have to have the fucking patience of an angel. to not attack. Like,
and again, we don't know what kind of attack. I mean, it doesn't seem like the toddler was super hurt.
Yeah.
So again, I don't think that they said it was like a severe attack.
Well,
they're more so like being like, we don't want anything more severe to happen.
In the future. And it didn't seem like they were that scared. Like you said, they had a photo shoot with the dog, and the toddler was there just like with the dog, like chilling. And it's like, if you were really that scared of your child's like life and well-being, the child wouldn't be in this photo shoot.
It's more so just an inconvenient
100%. Because like, think about it if we were, because we're not parents, right? But like, if we were parents and we were legitimately scared of our children, or scared for our children for various things, we would not put our children in those situations. So the first red flag, you say that the dog's aggressive. It's been aggressive for a long time. Yet you let the child fool around with this dog, harass the dog, take the dog's food. And then the other red flag is, even after this dog has allegedly attacked the child or whatever else, you then do a photo shoot. You're saying the dog's too aggressive. We have to put it down. It's too aggressive. It's going to kill, or like not kill, but like attack our children. But let's have a photo shoot with all of us.
I know.
It just leaves a really bad taste in your mouth.
Everyone's pissed.
Like,
and people are of course, see, another thing that kind of bugs me. I mean, I know we're kind of doing the same thing because we're talking about it, but like also, it's like, it's now people are starting to like dig into their archives, and this is what happens when you start, you have a controversial issue. People start digging into your old videos and
pulling out clips.
Now, all the drama channels are like, this is like fucking, this is the bread and butter of drama channels. You know what I'm saying?
Bread and butter of our channel. No, I'm just kidding. Bread and butter of the podcast.
Oh God. No, I mean, we're talking about a serious issue here that I like. This is an animal, rights issue.
Yeah.
Which I think we of all people have a lot to say about this.
Yeah.
Because we actually don't fucking eat animals.
Oh God.
And sit around and fucking talk about how. Sorry.
Damn. But I also think with our channel, like, we do talk about a lot of like gossipy things, but we kind of like put our like take on it. Do you know what I mean? Like, we talk about it in like our opinions as vegans, as like how we look at these situations, and try to like put some logic into it. You know what I mean? Like, that's at least how I feel. Cause I'm like, we're not like hyping up the drama here and like trying to like, dig into their lives. We're just saying from what the content that they put out on that video. Yeah. It's really bad.
It's bad. Now, so one of the things that people are digging up, because I'm a hypocrite and I still watch these drama channels.
Of course you do. No, I do too, guys. I do too.
One of the things, because I guess they were trying to adopt before. So initially they were going to adopt a baby instead of having their own. Yeah. And one of the videos they made was that they wanted to adopt from Thailand or one of those countries. Mm-hmm. And I think it was Thailand. And they were initially planning on adopting from Thailand. Mm-hmm. And then they were like, oh, we're no longer adopting from Thailand anymore. And the reason they gave was basically like, that Thailand has this law that says that when you adopt a child for a year, you can't, like, in that first year, you can't like show your child on like social media and like
which seems fair.
Right? And then they were like, well, what if we accidentally like put him in a vlog? I'm like, don't have your phone. Like, what do you mean you act? Anyway, so people are now like, saying that again, if you really wanted a child and like, I get that there's probably lots of other countries that you could potentially adopt from, but like, it just seems like such a not a good excuse. You know what I mean?
Well, they're a family channel, aren't they?
That's what I'm saying.
They're making money from having
fucking
kids.
Cancer, dude.
I know. These guys, we have talked about these channels before.
Yeah.
I just think there's something inherently wrong, and maybe I'm like too conservative, or maybe I'm like looking at this the wrong way. I don't know. If somebody can enlighten me and give me a good reason, a very good reason, guys, because for me, I just feel like, especially with young kids, if you're having these family vlog channels and stuff, like essentially you're exploiting your children for profit. Yes. And I just feel like there's so much inherently wrong with that. And these family channels that like, play off this like, ooh, we're this happy, loving family and blah, 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 blah. And here's all of our kids. And here's our kid at 1-year-old crawl. And it's like the kid literally has no choice or no say in it. Yeah. Like they're going to get older and like get to our age, for example, and be like, oh my God, there's so much stuff on me on the internet. Yeah. Like when I was a baby and when I was like young, and I didn't want that. Yeah. Thanks, mom and dad.
They're probably thinking like, oh, we're just, sharing cute videos of my child
with millions of people.
Right.
Because I think, again, there's like, I feel like there's like certain things, because you have to look at it like, for example, if I was to have a child, I might post a picture on my Facebook,
of course,
which only is my friends and family.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's a little bit different than me being like, hey, I'm going to start a YouTube channel.
Sure.
To make money as well. That's another key differentiator. Is like they're making money off these kids. And exploiting them, basically.
Yeah.
Like it is,
and it's also a little bit more messed up, especially if you're adopting a child, because you're like, are you adopting, like, why are you adopting a child?
Exactly.
And if you're not going to adopt a child because a country wouldn't let you post pictures of this child in the first year, I mean, would it kill you to not?
Well, they won't make money. That's the thing. They won't make any money because that's how they make their money.
That's what I'm saying.
There's so much wrong, guys. There's so much.
What's going on in your head?
I know. Like, I have such a problem with these family channels. Like, you know.
Wouldn't you want to protect your child? Like, this is like, I would be scared to put my child on the internet.
And some people argue as well. They're like, oh, well, what about like child actors and stuff? And I'm like, that's a little bit different.
It's very different.
Because they're in like a project, right? They're on a film that's not filming their actual life. They're acting on like a TV thing or whatever it may be.
I mean, even child actors, it's a little bit of a gray area.
It is. It's still a gray area. But like vlogging your daily life in your personal home and on your like whatever you're doing, like as adults, like because Rose does vlogs and stuff, but she's like an adult and like she consents to her own vlogging, right? Like that's totally different. Like you're purposely putting your life out there, right? But like with these young kids, they have no choice. And
that's
then
true.
Their parents are making money. And then the whole argument will be like, well, okay, what about how, like, you know, okay, they've provided for their kids and stuff, but like if you're directly profiting from your children, shouldn't that really be your kids' money? Yeah. Like, shouldn't it be in their bank account?
Yeah. There's no protection for these kids.
Exactly. It's just so bad. It's
and
just,
then like, and then I even thought, like even when I vlog, let's say I'm vlogging, if my friend was like, I don't want to be in that vlog, I'm not going to put her in the vlog. Yeah. But kids don't have that, you know.
Well, exactly. They can't say anything. Exactly.
Right? And then now, I mean, I feel bad for the toddler now as well, because this is all over the fucking internet now. Yeah. And the toddler's face is all over the internet, you know? And now it's going to be, you know, when he grows up, I mean, people are probably, and then people are talking about this issue and all of these things. And now he's going to be like, oh my God, like, I basically killed this dog. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, there's so many things.
There's so much
There's
wrong.
so many layers, you know?
Oh, God. I just hope that they start cracking down on these family channels.
Yeah. I mean, well, I think they started, like, not putting ads. No. I don't know what they did. They did something, not necessarily for family channels, but it was mainly to protect the viewers. Yeah. So, for example, like if a child is viewing your content and your content is made for children, then you can't have like comments, I think. Okay. Something like that. But like it still doesn't protect the children.
Yeah, exactly. Because it sounds like these channels are still making money.
I mean, there's certain channels where I'm just like, do you have babies just to like, because like, you know, I do feel like it's not a coincidence that a lot of these family vlogging channels have like 4 or 5 kids. Yeah. Oh. And they just keep popping them out.
And
like, what the fuck?
And I like, how would you feel, Rose? Like if you had your kids.
I mean, I don't know.
And just like filming them and just like
daily
and putting them on your channel.
It's weird.
Oh God.
It's weird.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys, so those were our thoughts on family vlogging channels. Yeah. All right. Is this the final story or are there more stories?
Well, there's a few, but like
small stories. Okay.
It's just going to be, maybe we'll just pound out a few.
Pound out a few.
Which brings me to this story, which I thought was so funny.
Condoms.
Yeah.
Condom sales surge as more people get vaccinated. Look, I mean, what a positive story.
Exactly. I was thinking, goddamn.
People are protecting themselves with a vaccination. They be protecting their...
Well, this is good. People believe in protection, which I think is very important.
In more ways than one.
Exactly. And it actually links to this picture that I saw on Instagram about a guy that had a t-shirt that said basically, got vaccinated, ready to fuck. So it sounds like there's a lot of people.
Speaking of vaccinations, we've
booked our vaccination, guys.
Woohoo! Finally, I'm getting mine in a week, I think.
God damn.
And you be getting yours when?
Like a few days after you.
Oh, God damn, we're gonna be vaccinated.
We're gonna get our first shot.
We're gonna get the Pfizer. We're gonna get Pfizer.
How do you know which one you're getting?
I think they said it was Pfizer.
Oh, I don't know what they said.
I don't know. It don't matter. I'll be getting anything at this point.
I just wanted to, like, things to go back to normal. So basically, guys,
this is hilarious.
Condom sales have skyrocketed. A research firm show that U.S. condom sales increased 23.4%.
Wow.
Within 4 weeks.
That is insane.
Like, people be getting excited.
People be getting a little too excited.
Goddamn. So I thought this was a nice, funny story.
Lovely.
Because, you know, as we're getting out of lockdown and everything else, it's really important that we remember, you know, I know everyone's getting excited. They're getting frisky. And it's important. And actually, I think this is a good story because it means that people are being safe.
Yes.
They're getting their condoms. They're getting ready. Yes. They're getting ready for when the bars open.
So I know that during COVID, I'm pretty sure there was a baby boom during COVID. From, you know, couples having babies.
Couples, yeah.
And now I'm like, okay, is there also going to be, and I know like it's good that there are people buying condoms, but also will there be a post-COVID baby boom as well?
Well, not if everyone's using condoms.
I mean, not everyone's using condoms.
No, it's so true.
You know?
Well, and
condoms break, Daniel. It's only 90-something% effective if used properly.
Yeah.
And you know how humans be stupid.
That's why you double up and get 180% protection.
No, doubling up is worse, guys. Don't listen to Daniel.
I'm just kidding, guys. But also a funny thing, I was like, and I don't know how accurate this is, guys, but according to a survey on Match.com.
Okay, great. Love that source.
A singles survey, 71% of singles reported that they hadn't had sex during the pandemic.
For a whole year.
Yep.
God damn, it'd be a dry season.
It's a very dry season. That's why people are getting the condoms ready for when things...
I bet like half these condoms are probably just like, let's just hopeful thinking.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we did talk about how, was that in our Patreon exclusive? I can't remember. We talked about how the virginity rate of males.
Yes, I think it was a Patreon exclusive from a couple months ago.
That's right.
Yes,
yeah.
The male virginity rate. I mean, this is like a big issue, not just like during COVID.
Yeah.
It was like before COVID, actually.
Yeah, it was.
The rate of male virginity from between ages of what, like 20 and 40?
It was like 18 and 30.
Right, something like that.
Yeah.
Has skyrocketed.
Yeah.
Before compared to before.
Yeah.
So
like
that's a big issue.
It stayed relatively consistent for like several years. And then now it's just kind of like gone up quite a lot. And people were saying, oh, maybe more people are more open to say that they're virgins or whatever else. That could explain a little bit of it.
Small amount.
But not as much as they're seeing. So they're like, actually,
if you want to listen to it, guys.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Nice little plug into the Patreon.
Exactly. Goddamn roses.
Go and subscribe to our Patreon. It's $3 a month only.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Starting at $3 a month.
It starts at $3 a month. If you want to give us more, I mean, we ain't going to object to that. Starting at $3 a month, less than a Starbucks coffee.
And you get an exclusive episode. You get
every
all of
month.
Our content. We're
going to do a drunken one this month.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, we are.
It's going to be very exciting, guys. So join. So that's a good news. Is there an MDMA news?
Oh, there is. There's some
I love me some MDMA news.
I know you do. So apparently,
nice.
So it's still not. I think it's still, from what I understand, it's not like been approved yet, but they've been basically starting to do trials, and it's been going on for a little while, where they're using MDMA,
which is a drug,
to help people with PTSD.
They've been talking about this for a long time, though, so I'm glad that it's becoming, I don't know, more mainstream news. I don't know,
because the way that I explained it, we don't have to go through the whole article and stuff, but from what they said is because obviously when you take MDMA, it releases endorphins.
Yes.
And they were saying what they can
do.
Does
it release endorphins? Is it something to do with serotonin? Is there a difference?
Something.
Anyways, it makes you happy. Essentially,
makes you feel really good.
It's a happy drug.
Yeah, it is a happy drug. Not that we have any experience with that. So they were saying what actually can help is the therapists are able to, like, because normally when you talk to people about traumatic stuff, automatically like they get stressed or their heart level goes up and they don't want to talk about it, right? Like if you have like a very traumatic thing,
right?
Whereas with the MDMA, it's like you're able to talk about it and not get those feelings.
Oh, very interesting.
Because you're kind of at this kind of constant kind of not necessarily even happy, but just kind of a content level. So you can talk about like a lot of dark stuff that's happened and actually work through it properly.
Right. Oh, that's really interesting.
Yeah. Which is that
makes a lot of sense because, when people are high on MDMA, they become very like, sometimes people just sit there and they just talk for hours.
Yeah. That's true,
and they're just, very calm or, they might be going crazy in a rave or something.
That's true.
But there's a lot of instances where you just sit and like listen to music and you just talk.
Yeah.
So you're just very calm and relaxed and you almost feel, again, not speaking from experience.
Not speaking from any experience, guys.
But
from what we've heard.
You almost feel like all your worries are gone.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know why they're not doing it already. This is the problem with having such a negative reaction to certain drugs just because they're illegal.
Yeah.
Because they actually used MDMA before as an antidepressant. I think that's what it started.
That was.
Yeah.
I think that was the original use for it. Or it was like I think they originally, I could be wrong, but it was like maybe they used it for like a blood thinner or something.
Okay, maybe.
Like a very long time ago.
Sure.
And then obviously they realized there's other effects of MDMA and then, started using it for other things such as treating depression. And then obviously it became a party drug.
It became a party drug. And I think that's when it became illegal. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what happened first.
Yeah.
But then, because it was a party drug, people, of course, associated with being bad. Even though, like, compared to, again, alcohol.
Yeah.
MDMA, I'm pretty sure, has a lot fewer deaths and fewer overdose issues. And if there are overdoses, it's usually because it's laced with something.
Exactly.
So again,
which again, with this whole idea of like, this is another issue. You talk about these illegal drugs and them being laced. Like if like MDMA, for example, was made legal, and you could buy it at regular places, it would be regulated and it wouldn't be laced.
Exactly.
So you wouldn't have these issues, right? So anyway.
Well, I mean, that's cool. I mean, hopefully they can make it happen because it makes a lot of sense. And wow.
I think it'd be really, really helpful. And, you know, if it can help treat people with PTSD, also people that are suffering from depression, you know, there's a lot of really good benefits, I think. And, you know, again, used in, I guess, in controlled fashions and whatever else. Like, I think, you know, great. Like, I think that's fantastic. So just wanted to leave everyone with that kind of positive thought. You know, condom sales
if you're going to do drugs, make sure you do it safely. Make sure you do your research. Okay, don't be stupid.
What I was going to say, I mean, you know, condom sales are surging and MDMA might become illegal.
Oh, God. There's no way they're going to legalize MDMA. Not anytime soon. They just fucking legalized marijuana.
I know, and that took forever.
I know.
That literally took forever.
But I do think people are becoming more, you know, open to the idea of legalization of drugs.
Oh, speaking of legalized marijuana.
God damn. Next time, Daniels. Next time.
Oh, God damn.
God, imagine doing this podcast like high on weed.
I couldn't.
I don't think we could talk properly.
No, I
would just be slurring my words.
That's different than you drinking?
Excuse me, Daniels. Actually, maybe my drinking would be worse.
Yeah, I think your drinking is worse, Rose.
You're rude as hell. Maybe we get high on MDMA.
Oh, God damn. Okay, that's not happening because that's illegal, Rose. And we've never done that before. So,
Daniel.
You know. So anyway,
guys, so that brings us to the end of the episode. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Lots to talk about.
So much to talk about today,
and
guys.
Lots more to talk about in our Patreon exclusive. So once again, join us over there, patreon.com/The SaVeg Podcast. We are growing our little family. We love it there. And you get the episodes without any ads. And you get the episodes a week earlier than everybody else. And what else, Daniels? And a bonus episode every single month.
That's right.
And the next one's going to be a drunken one.
Exactly. The next one's going to be a drunken one. There's lots of, and also you'll get access to all of our exclusive episodes.
Archives.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we have a lot on there now,
we
guys.
do.
We have like horrific dating stories.
Oh, God.
We have like so much, you know, so many things. Like, I mean, I think there's a story about a guy that's hair caught on fire at one point. One of Rose's dates. I'm not gonna say too much more. You got to go into Patreon to catch that. We have a lot of fun on there. We did some quizzes, that kind of stuff. So it's just kind of like, and we're a little bit more raw and real.
Yeah. You know? So join us there, guys. And if not, that's fine. We'll be here every week.
Exactly.
And just follow us on Instagram. That's free.
Yeah.
Instagram is The SaVeg Podcast.
And if you're not already, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Give this video a thumbs up. Yeah, and also rate us or follow us on whatever podcast platform that you're watching this on, or sorry, listening to this on, I guess. Yeah.
And that's it. Goddamn, that was a long ass outro. I apologize. Anyways, love us, rate us, all that good stuff. And we will talk to you guys.
See you guys next week.
Bye.
Bye.